All right, me and Ryan, we're diagnosing what happened here whenever I tore up the steering sector. And I didn't actually tear up the steering box. I was looking, and I have pushed my control arm back. I am not bent at all down through here, but Ryan, spin that steering wheel. And I'm looking, which is pretty tight on clearance. But my bolt on my double U-joint right there, my set screw is catching against my control arm. Well, that did have about a 1/4 inch clearance. And I think what it is, I think my shaft across the back here of that control arm is bent. We're fixing to take this off, we're gonna see. But the steering sector itself, so it's actually working, and it's just hanging on that bolt right there as I turn them back and forth. Because you can see that was a Ute tire right there. Infield tractor tire, baby. They will get you every time. And I can just visually see this ball joint right here. The shaft's going up like this, but the top's over here. So I know that one's bent. I don't know, this could be bent. I'll have to get it off. Lower ball joint may be bent. Definitely twisted the end of my arm right here on my spindle. That's definitely twisted. I'm going to assume inner tie rod end over there on the center link is bent as well. And I can see that the pitman arm itself is bent. So, man, them Infield tractor tires is tough. Let's get it apart. We'll look and see how bad it is. Lots of stuff bent, lots of stuff. Anyway, I went ahead and ordered a 700 series suite box, because one of the things a lot of y'all are just constantly complaining about me sawing on the steering wheel. But I'm not sawing on the steering wheel. I'm just tracking the front of the car. I'm just like, I'm literally just keeping the tires following the track is all I'm doing. But the steering box, it came off my other car, and it's got some slack in it, and it doesn't have a tight enough ratio, even on a 12-to-1. So I'm gonna keep my 2-to-1 here, and then I went with a true 12-to-1 suite box with a 185 valve in it, which is gonna significantly tighten the steering up on the car. That worked.
That was what was this?
There it goes. Oh, I believe she's bent. That. Alright. Yep. I don't know if those Joes come out or not. You may have to. I got a small shop maul instead of this massive thing.
You mean the trailer?
Well, they're coming loose now. That's not bent. No, it's in there. Pick them up later. There we go. Well, that looks good. Adjustment's still good on it. Well, let's see. I had to put a straight edge on it, Ryan, but well, definitely nothing wrong with them bearings. We'll just have to I'll take the ends off, and we'll just have to, we'll take the machinist square and put on it.
That, if you said that was bent, would that cause it to have pressure on the?
Yeah, it could. It may have been. I don't know. It felt like it was in a bind to me, like it was coming back and forth. So I'll have to put a straight edge on my plate as well. I mean, I can look at it and see. It visually looks straight, but if it's got a slight bow in it, if it has a slight bow in it, you know, and then you bolt this down tight to it, you can flex that just a little bit, and that could be where that cam feeling comes from. So let's check that. And I wonder if that steering, if this, here's what I'm wondering. So I did have a 1/4 inch clearance between the head of that bolt right there and the back of this control arm, regardless of on anti-dive where I put it. And this plate looks straight. Now don't get me wrong, I'll put machinist triangle on these and check all of this. This shaft looks straight to me. That looks straight to me. Definitely doesn't explain the bind. And I'm looking, I know that horn itself is not bent. I don't have any cracked paint down through here, nothing like that. I have a huge 1-inch piece of DOM that runs in a 45 from this corner right here across to the center. And then I got my tubes here, my crossovers. And this is not out of alignment. Now I got some measurements wrote down. I can check it to make sure. But, you know, paper thin stuff, but it's clearly, it has not bent this. And there's no hit anywhere on the front that would bend this horn. But I am seeing this bolt, that frame is swelled out right there. That frame is kind of bowed just a little. That's supposed to be straight. It's got a little bow across there. And when it took the hit, the tire took the hit and it snatched it so hard, it twisted the arm on the spindle itself. It has twisted the pitman arm on the steering sector. And I believe what it did is that it pulled that steering sector in the frame and it bowed it in on the inside and out on the outside, because I welded a solid sleeve across on the inside. And so that third bolt position, it just twisted it over and shifted, like literally bowed the frame in, bowed the frame out right there, which I can fix. That's easy to fix. I can fix that, straighten this right back up. I know exactly where this is supposed to be. So I'm gonna replace the steering sector anyway. You take a hit that hard, your steering box has gotta go. It's gotta go, you take a hit that hard. If you've been a pitman arm, just assume that the box is junk. And it had a ton of slack in it anyway, so, you know, it was time for it to go. Hopefully, one good thing, because I was afraid if it was the gears had jumped in this box, I was afraid I had lost my Jones pump because of sending shrapnel through it. But now that I know that it just hung and it had not actually jumped a gear, that's good news, because that means I ain't got to worry about my pump being bad. So the steering box will be here in 2 days. We'll put it on. And when I take this off, I can straighten that back out. I'll straighten it back out to about where it should be, and then I can put the new box on, and then the alignment itself, because this thing, I had it perfectly. I had this perfectly in alignment parallel to the chassis. So what I can do is I can string the car and get me a straight edge out here, and then I can check that alignment to that to make sure I've got it straight. So I should be able to get it right back to perfect again without much trouble. But yeah, that's what it done. So the hit was hard enough that it actually, you know, bent the steering box over, you know, bent the pitman arm. That means the bottom ball joint could be bent. I can see this arm is twisted slightly. I've got another spindle, so I'll either change it out or I may straighten this out. I'll probably go ahead and like take this off and lay this up on the table and jig it up and measure it and see how much it's twisted, because it's supposed to be 0. That's where I had it set to before. So I'll be able to check that. If it's off, you know, where I can just give it, you know, 1 or 2 degrees and straighten it up, I'll do that. But I can see that that bolt is bent just a little bit. I can see that it's no longer running with my ball joints like I had it, because I had that in alignment with my ball joints. All right, and so I'll check that. Inner tie rod in, guarantee you that's junk. Center link could be twisted, like it could be bowed. I'll check that as well. The other side will be fine. Not worried about the other side. Lower control arm, it's just while we've got everything apart, really what I'll do just to check with it is I'll take everything loose, and if it swings free with no bind in the 2 bolts, then I know it's good. I'm not, you know, as long as it swings free, I know it's good. If it doesn't swing free, then, you know, yeah, pull it out. That means I probably have twisted one of the ends of it or something. Get on the phone, call Rodney Wing down there at Why Not and order another one. He says he can ship them and have them to you in about 3 days, so not a big deal there. Oh, let's see what else. Not worried about the shocks, that's fine. And I guess that's it. Put it all back together and then make some changes based on what we learned. Yeah, we're gonna change more stuff. I'm gonna keep changing stuff, y'all, until I get until me and this car reach a happy medium of me, you know, driving it and seeing success. I'm gonna keep working on it. And I'm not happy yet. I'm close. But I'm not quite happy yet. I'll make a few more changes to her. I got some things in mind. Didn't really have much body damage that won't just straighten right out, but they was working hard on them graphics.
I bet so.
Them graphics look good. That right side of the car, they're all there, but boy, they skin up. I don't know how good they'll clean up. Anyway, just want to give you a quick update on what was going on here, what we found. Stick with me. I'll after I get this apart and put the new box on, straighten that frame out, I'll try to get y'all another update, okay? See you next time.